Yeah, so we use hot water to wash our things, and we actually don't care if things have stains on it. There are some renters that have bought a thing of bleach, so on occasion we use that container, but it's very rare, because we don't care if it's got stains on it. It's, you know, there are things, for example, like the napkins that I have made from old curtains, and I've picked them specifically to have lots of design on it, so you don't see really the stains on them. But for sheets and towels, we wanted it to be all the same color, so we could throw it all at once in one machine. And we had considered doing dark ones, but the dark ones typically are harder to wash, because if you have a stain on it, or if you have a grease stain on it, it's extremely difficult to remove. Whereas with whites, at least sometimes we can use hot water to really, to wash it. So we throw the sheets in there, the towels. My husband also has t-shirts. As you saw, I don't have a lot of white clothing. So there is very few pieces of clothing that go in there. For books, we've donated all our books to the library, because we feel that it's a way to make them available to other people. And I really highly recommend also that if you buy this book, you pass it on. It's super important to pass the information. I want, of course, this movement to grow, which is one of the reasons that if you ask me to sign the book, I don't actually put a name in the book. Because if I put a name, I know what people will do. They're like, oh, I gotta keep it forever because she wrote it to Anna. If I don't put a name in there, then it's something that you can pass on. So I would highly recommend that you pass it on. Well, you know, if we obviously don't put that in the jar, that's not our trash. So we have a can that we use when we're not, obviously, because we're not using it. We use it to collect our leaves, or we use it for gardening. And then when people rent our house, we pull it out. Now, we've told them that, on Airbnb, we don't say we're a zero-waste house because we don't want to scare the crap out of them. No one will want to rent our house if they know it's a zero-waste house. So we don't say it, but when they come into the house, then we have a binder that explains how the household works, and we say, welcome to zero-waste home. Here are the totes and jars. If you're interested in buying in bulk, this is where you can buy in bulk. As you'll notice, we don't have paper towels, but the rags are here. And so we, of course, don't force them to live zero waste in a household, because you can't adopt a zero waste lifestyle overnight. It's obvious that themselves, they might be bringing cotton pads or feminine products or Q-tips, basically disposables that they're using themselves. So we let them discover the zero waste lifestyle when they rent the house, and then we tell them, if you want to know more, you have the book. So that's the one book we have in the house. So it's in the bathroom, actually. So it's not for me. Obviously, I don't need the book. It's all in my head. But that's why we have that book. It's for them to actually have access to all that information. Typically, they said that when they rent the house, they've been inspired to let go, to declutter, because they love the simplicity of it. And that's great. Maybe they won't be going for zero waste, but even if they can let go of stuff, that's a huge step. By the way, the neighbors know when we're not home, because they'll see the trash can out. They're like, oh, the Johnsons may not be home. The kids, if you think about it, our kids have lived longer without waste than they have with waste. Right? We started when they were like 6 and 5. So what we do is completely normal and automatic. When you grow up a certain way, you take it for granted. You don't question it. If you grow up with a certain diet or a certain religion, you take it for granted. You will only question it once you leave the household and have to become independent and have to make those decisions for yourself. Max is leaving the household in September. He's going to university. And I expect them to buy all the packaged stuff that I never bought. But that's okay. Of course, that's part of growing up. You have to test things for yourself. And, I can't predict the future, tell for sure whether they'll adopt a zero-waste lifestyle or not. But what makes me feel comfortable as a mother is to know that I have given them the tools to do it if they choose to do it when they grow up. But I expect them, of course, to rebel just like any teenager does, no matter how they're brought up. That's part of growing up. When we got started, it was we already had an unpackaged pantry for 6 months that the kids did not even notice. And I found out that they didn't even know because we took a field trip to the health food store. And in front of all that unpackaged stuff, the teacher asked, "Why is it good to buy unpackaged?" You know, she has the kids, and my son just sat there. Oh my gosh, I wanted to slap him in the back of the head, like, answer, you know the answer to this. And it dawned on me at that moment that zero waste is more what you do outside the house than what you do inside the house. It's the person that consumes for the household that has the choice to, one, either not consume, or two, consume differently by buying food unpackaged or the material necessities secondhand. And since I am the one that had made all those decisions, zero waste had gone completely unnoticed. Kids actually have very simple needs. And as long as those needs are met, they're happy. It's the parents that complicate those needs. It's the parents that buy the stuff. So, you know, as long as they have a cereal that they like in the morning, a cookie that they like when they come home from school, they're happy. So when we started buying unpackaged, we took them to the health food store and I was like, pick whatever cereal you want. Pick whatever cookie you want. And so they found products that they actually very enjoy, so they don't miss the Oreos that I was buying before. As far as clothing, you know, they present themselves just like any teenager does. Or I think when you look at me, maybe you can't really tell I live a zero-waste lifestyle. You can tell that I bought all my clothes secondhand. It's the same for my kids. They present themselves just like any teenager. It's just that their clothes happens to have been purchased secondhand. Their friends don't know. They don't need to know. And they don't care. But I go clothes shopping twice a year, mid-October and mid-April. And early on, I made sure to have an open ear to their needs and wants. And I asked them, what is it that you want me to buy for you? Because I didn't want them coming back to me, you know, 10 years, 15 years down the line to say, well, at our house, we could never have a Quicksilver t-shirt or Puma shoes. So when I went to the thrift store, I made sure to bring back the things that they had asked for. So Leo, for example, really wanted O'Neill and Quicksilver t-shirts when he was little, Puma shoes. And then when he grew up, you know, now it's like he wants skinny t-shirts, different colors, V-neck, no logos. It's no jeans, but pants, skinnies, different color, just 3. And then Lacoste sneakers for some reason. And of course, as they've grown older, it's getting harder and harder to find a sneaker size 44 secondhand. So then I fall back on eBay. You know, Lacoste, sneaker, black, select secondhand. And then the selection you get is like amazing. And the last pair of shoes I bought for Leo came like they were, I mean, they looked brand new. You have people out there that are collecting sneakers. So one day when I decide to actually put it back in the world, you can have access to them. You know, what makes my kids different is not the jar of trash. It's not the amount of, you know, trash we produce. They don't care. It's completely normal. What makes them different are the activities, the experiences that they've been able to do at their very young age. Max, who's 18, has traveled through 22 countries already. When we came to Latvia, Leo went bungee jumping in Sigulda. That was his 15th birthday present. This is what we took back from us, with us when we left Latvia. It's experiences, not stuff. And if you can really show them that a life rich in experiences is better than one based on stuff, they will obviously be on board with that. So it's also up to you to give them the gift of experiences for their birthdays. I personally, when I look at the stuff that my kids made when they were 3, I don't really see my son in it because they've become people. They've become like adult. And I don't feel that that piece right there is connected to the man that's grown out of it. What we've done in that case, though, is we have purchased like... I don't know what they're called. It's kind of like a school memory binder. And for each year, you have a like a pocket. It's like it's all made out of cardboard, but you have like a cardboard pocket for each year. So that really helps to, when you have young kids, to dedicate yourself to only put in there what will fit in there. And if you have something that is bigger, then take a picture of it. You don't necessarily need to hold these things. As long as you can see them, that connects with you. But you know, it's funny because I'm the one that had to make those decisions for my kids, obviously, when they were little. And as the years went by, you know, they stopped, you know, it was up to my kids to fill those pockets. And of course, the last 5 years are completely empty because they don't care, you know. And I even feel, I'm very torn about the stuff that I have chosen for them. Because when my mom gave me all the drawings that I made when I was age 3, I didn't recognize the stuff. It looked like someone else did it. Like it's not like I could find myself in it. So I was completely disconnected from it. It didn't mean anything for me. It's only because my mom had kept it. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So I let them go. So I kind of, you know, it's really for me was when I was in that transitional phase from keeping like a whole big box filled with stuff for each kid to then going to one binder. And now I feel like I should not even have kept all that stuff because I know that my kids won't really connect with it. So if you have trouble letting go, take pictures, but also be mindful that whatever you keep, your kids will end up with it. And then their grandkids will end up with it. And so in the end, you're sustaining that life that is based on stuff, and you're telling them that you have to keep stuff along the way. And imagine, through the generations, all that stuff snowballs. It starts like this, then the next one has more, then the next one has more, and it snowballs. And then and then you get all that stuff, and you feel like this horrible sense of guilt from letting go. Although you don't even connect to the item, it doesn't mean anything to you, but you feel like you gotta keep it because it's been passed on to you. It's the conclusion of my book is actually is all about that. What I want to give to my kids is not stuff. I want to give them a heritage of savoir-faire, a heritage of memories, of experiences that we've lived together. And that, to us, is what makes life richer. You know, they've asked people on their deathbed, what are your regrets? None of them say, I wish I had kept all my son's drawings. I wish I had had a bigger house, a bigger car, a Gucci bag, whatever watch, the latest Apple Watch. What they all say is that they wish they had spent more time with family, they wish they had traveled more. Everything they're talking about is based on experiences. So I have a refillable pen. So you can also use a fountain pen, for example. But I found one brand, and actually there is 2 brands that I know do this. And I have those in a boutique. So if you're like, because I can't remember the brand of the other one. This one is Visconti, and it's a ballpoint pen, and it just is fitted with a piston. So that's okay, I'm wearing black. And so you have a piston, so you just dip it in the ink, and then you suck the ink out of the bottle with this. But my book came out in Hungarian and in Macedonian. I signed like 500 books, and I think it did something to the ball because right now it's not working well. So I think I'm going to have to change the tip. So I might not be signing the book with this pen today. I'm having some issues. But this is one of the great options. Otherwise, for pencils, you have lead holders. For as eraser, you have natural gum instead of the synthetic one. I did a YouTube video actually on all the school supplies. And there are, a lot of teachers that will ask for like super specific things, and they'll ask for like a plastic binder, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying that. I mean, I don't support it. So then we'll just buy the cardboard alternative. So we apply the 5 rules to every aspect of our lifestyle. So one, we have refused a ton of things and reduced a ton of things. So we say no to the latest Apple Watch. We say no to the latest gadget. We've let go of all the things that we didn't truly need. So we don't have scanners or cameras or alarm clocks or DVD players or iPods or CD players. who listens to CD anymore. But anyways, there is a ton of things that people have, a ton of electronics that people have, but we don't have. We each have a personal computer, and we have a smartphone. We're modern. My kids, however, made their computers, so they know how to repair it. If they want to upgrade it or they want to, something breaks, they can do that. It's too bad that they could not make a laptop for me. They don't know how to do that. But for those things, we buy them secondhand when we can. And same for like the phones, they're secondhand. But if the phone breaks, then our first reaction is repair. So we take it to the repair shop, and if they cannot repair it, they buy it from us for the parts. You can also sell phones like that on eBay, for example. There is a demand for these things, of course, for the parts. And don't wait 15 years to sell your phone. Do it now, because obviously you have to do it when there is still demand for those parts. And then once we've done that, then we can buy a second-hand phone from that same store. My son, the youngest one, his phone broke. It was like a few months ago. And so we went to the, we tried to repair it. And the guy said, I'm sorry, I can't repair it. And we're like, well, do you have one for us? No, that you could buy? He's like, well, I only have a 5 today. And he was like, I don't want a 5. I want an 8. Like, fine, Leo, you want an 8? Get a job and pay for it. That's what we did with the teenager. So Leo got a job, and he bought himself an iPhone 8. But in that case, that was his choice. And believe me, once you tell them to pay for the item and work for it, their wants become much smaller. I can say that my computer is second-hand because I used to have a Microsoft Surface. It broke, and so I went to, they have a Genius Bar like they do with Apple, where they have a repair department, and I went to Microsoft, and I'm like, can you please repair my computer? And they're like, yeah, sorry, we have a problem with those. Yeah, we can't repair it, but we'll give you a coupon for a discount for a new one. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm not buying that piece of crap again. So I went, in that case, of course, I went to the a repair shop where I know we can buy second-hand computers. And I asked him, do you have a small one for me? Because I travel a lot. And he made me wait like 2 weeks. I was doing all my work on a cell phone. My eyes were going crazy. And then after 2 weeks, he's like, I'm sorry, I don't have one for you. You have to buy new. So in that case, I bought it from a store that stands behind their packaging. So you buy the item and they actually take the packaging back. And it's great because it puts that responsibility onto them. So I bought the computer. I said, thanks for the computer. I bought the computer for the computer, not the packaging. So here is the packaging. Think about the 5 R's. When you're stuck, can you refuse? Can you reduce? Can you reuse? The reusing there would be the repair. And if you have to buy new, then think about how can you maybe find a way to buy it in a more recyclable and recycle your, the ones that break. Just think about the 5 R's. Actually, when I wrote the book, I used to change a lot of my pieces, but over time, I have actually I figured out what my staples are. And so I figured out what is it that, there are some items that I don't want to swap. I'm really happy with, and I'll keep those, of course. But when I do, if I do swap something, it's obviously I donate it. So it's like putting it back on the market for someone to use. I don't throw it out. But that said, if there is something with a hole in it, I try to repair it the best I can. And if I can't repair it, then there is a place where we can drop off worn-out textiles. And, there are a lot of textile recyclers out there that all they're waiting for is for you to give them materials. So don't think that a T-shirt with a hole in it is meant for landfill. They actually want those T-shirts from you. The things we haven't figured out is basically the contents of this jar. There are some things, obviously, that I have acted upon, and I also talk about that in the book, that there are some things that instead of throwing it in a jar or throwing it in your trash can, you can use to create change, and that's what I call an active discard. So, for example, at the beginning of the year, I decided to participate in a mountain biking race. My husband participated in that race last year, so I knew that their race plates, the thing with the number, was made out of plastic. So in that case, I try to be proactive. I really want to do the race, but it'd be nice if I could have a cardboard plate. So I contacted the company and I asked them, have you guys considered, doing paper and cardboard? And they didn't take it well. They felt that I was telling them that they're doing things wrong, and that's not really the case. I told them I just don't want to add that thing to my jar, and I'm just trying to find a solution to not have to throw away that plate. And so in the end, at the end of the race, I obviously had it, but I could have cut it up and fit it in next year's jar. But I thought, you know what, this is something I can use to create change. And that's, again, what I call an active discard, is when you use that item to propose alternatives. So in that case, I cut it in half, I put it in an envelope, and I wrote a letter to the company. It's good to give examples also in the book on how to write those letters. First, praise the company, say, in the case of the race, I love this race. I think it's awesome, and it's a world-known race. Love this race. What a great location. What a fantastic event you guys are doing. But how about you consider using cardboard? We all depend on this environment to do the sport that we're enjoying. So it would be great if you switch to that, so we could recycle it. So you can use certain items to create change, propose alternatives. And when you send the item back, obviously it has much more power than if you just send just an email. I send things back, there are probably, per year there's maybe like 5 items that I send back. So when you adopt a zero-waste lifestyle, it's very important to own that term and not be afraid to use it. And tell your friends and family, I've decided to adopt a zero-waste lifestyle. I'm simplifying my life. I no longer accept the gift of stuff. I only accept the gift of experiences. Now, if you tell them that, they're like, what does that mean? So it's good to give them examples. Give them a list of things that you would gladly accept. And same before the holidays, but don't wait for December 24th to say, well, for Christmas, I only accept experiences. Send them an email, in November. In the US, you have to send it in September, because people start shopping way early. But don't be afraid to send that email, or to let your friends and family know, the people that you expect a gift from, about what is acceptable to you and what is not. And it's also very important that in your turn, you don't give the gift of stuff. If you give stuff, you have to be expecting to receive the gift of stuff. So you can give the example, and when you give a gift of experiences, it shows that this is also the type of gift that you like to receive. Yeah, thank you very much.